Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about the best eyeshadows at the drugstore. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. So I have mentioned before, I have a hard time finding affordable eyeshadows that I think are high quality, that perform well. So I decided to go through my collection and pull out the drugstore eyeshadows that I think actually perform to high-end standards. First up is one that is arguably not drugstore, but given that you can find it at Ulta, I decided to include it, and that is Colourpop. I think Colourpop makes great palettes. I just happened to pull out That's Taupe as my most used palette, but otherwise I think Colourpop eyeshadows, they're great. They perform so well. I never have complaints with them. So I definitely think Colourpop is one of the very best affordable eyeshadow brands. When you compare it to a lot of brands, say Maybelline, Wet n Wild, I feel like you just get so much better quality with Colourpop. You just do. And I know Wet n Wild has some hits. I know a lot of people are talking about their Always Naked palette, which sounds really, really good, and I'm kind of intrigued. But historically, they haven't always had the best. This, however, is excellent quality. I love this palette. It's one of my favorites. A lot of my Colourpop palettes I really, really enjoy. I'm not specifically mentioning this palette. I just mean Colourpop in general. Yes, they release way too much, but they have excellent shadows for a completely fair price point. And in that same vein, I have to mention the Super Shock shadows. So I have a few shades, but the ones I pulled today are Flower Child, which is so pretty. It's just perfect everyday shadow. And then I also pulled Mutt's About You, so you can see I do have a type there. I believe every year around the holidays they usually come out with a duo of Super Shocks. I think it's like the Somebody to Love, where proceeds go to an animal shelter in LA, I believe. So I do always try to pick up those duos because, you know, it's a good cause. Both of my cats are rescues, so they definitely have a soft place in my heart. But overall, I think Colourpop Super Shock shades are so good. I know some people don't really like them. I personally love them. Okay, I wanted to mention a newer palette, but this is the Milani Gilded Mini palette. So they've definitely had shadows in this format before. I actually have some of them and I like them just fine, but this is one of their new ones, and this one is in the shade Whiskey Business. This one I actually have on my eyes right now, so this one is an all matte, very neutral brown palette, and I love it. I love it. So this is supposed to be a dupe, I believe, for the Charlotte Tilbury all matte palette, and I think they did such a great job. I was eyeing up that Charlotte Tilbury palette for a while. Now that I have this, I have no desire to pick up the Charlotte Tilbury. This is just that perfect all matte brown palette. It's going to be perfect for every day. And I love how well the shades blended out. I love how they look on the eyes. I know it's a boring brown matte palette, but the quality of this is phenomenal. So I had to mention this. I've been loving this. So this is definitely one of the better formulas at the drugstore. I haven't always had the best experience with Milani shadows, and I haven't always heard the best things, but these Gilded Minis are really, really good. Another formula that I discovered late last year and fell in love with is the Oma by Sharon C Eye Service eyeshadow quads. So this one is in Dreaming, and I love this one. So I swear this one is a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Dreams quad. This is so nice. So the packaging isn't that expensive, but just look how pigmented these shades are. The mattes are so buttery. I do think the shimmers are a little bit drier than the Charlotte Tilbury, but they have so much more sparkle. I love these. This quad is one of my favorites. I love this one. I like it better than the Charlotte Tilbury, which again, it says something when I like something drugstore over high end, especially in the eyeshadow category. That just does not happen for me. These quads are so good, and this is definitely my favorite. It's just a neutral dream. It looks so pretty. I love this one, and the sparkle on the eyes, beautiful. Okay, I also wanted to mention a formula from NYX that's actually an older formula, but these are their prismatic shadows. I have the shades Golden Peach and Mermaid. So I think Mermaid was pretty popular on TikTok at some point last year, the year before. and it is very pretty. It's a very, very pretty shade. Just a gorgeous prismatic mint green, but my favorite is Golden Peach. It's just the most beautiful peachy everyday shade. It's like this peachy gold. It's just so, so, so pretty. I really, really love this one. I love Golden Peach as a daily shade, but Mermaid is definitely a really, really pretty one if I'm looking to venture outside my comfort zone. I think these are beautiful. The formula is wonderful. 2 formulas left. The first one is from Ulta Beauty, and this is their Lustrous Foil Eyeshadows. I have this one in Silver Leaf. So again, this is a foil shadow, so it definitely is on the chunky side, but wait until you see the swatch. I was wearing this in a recent video. Just look at how this swatches. Look at the shine and reflect off that shade. It is so beautiful, and I'm going to be honest, it had minimal fallout. I recently tried a glitter topper from a high-end brand, and the fallout was bananas. With this very flaky shade, the fallout was so minimal. I love this one. I love how dimensional and shiny this one is. I love what this does for the lids. I do want this formula in more colors. I don't typically go for these big flaky shades like this, but it's just so nice, and the effect on the eyes is beautiful. So I highly recommend these if you like a bit more of a textured, dimensional sparkle to the eyes. I think you'd love these. And finally, also from Ulta Beauty, this is the Bouncy Eyeshadow. I have this shade Champagne Sorbet. So again, a very basic neutral shade. This reminds me quite a bit of a Colourpop Super Shock, but it's just so pretty, so smooth. They do have a bunch of different shades. You don't have to go with the simplest one, but the formula is so good. All of these formulas are very long wearing. They're so flattering on the eyes. Maybe the foiled one is a little bit, might not be flattering on everybody, but all of these formulas are super long wearing. They perform well, they blend out well, they work with other shadows very, very well, and they just look so beautiful on the eyes. And they all have such beautiful pigment to them. You don't have to fight to get your pigment. And that is it. Those are the drugstore eyeshadows that I actually feel perform like high-end shadows. Again, this is coming from somebody who self-admits to being an eyeshadow snob. I do not typically like drugstore eyeshadows, but these are the ones that I absolutely need to have in my collection. That is it for me today. Let me know down below your favorite drugstore eyeshadow formulas. Let me know if I missed any or if there are some that I need to try out. Let me know. Thank you so very much for watching. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!